Good morning, all. This is Deb, and I have been missing in action for a few weeks, so I thought I would come on here and tell you about what I've been doing, share a couple of things with you, just to kind of touch base and keep you inspired. I have another Facebook group, and what we do is make primitive quilts and folk art. And so I've been very busy over there. Sorry about that. Getting some things going over there and participating in some things. So anyway, I wanted to show you one of the things that I am working on. And that would be this project. And I wanted to kind of encourage you. You don't always have to use paper to make a journal. This is a fabric journal. If there's one thing that I don't love more than paper, it's fabric. And that's what this is made of. And so I wanted to kind of show you what I've got going. Before I go on with it, I wanted to show you it from the beginning so that you could get an idea as I move through the process. How the whole thing works. So this fabric, in fact, a lot of the fabric that's in here is thrifted. So this was a decorative pillow that I got at the Goodwill, and I took the cover off and washed it and made the cover. So and what I did was I put I like raw edge. I don't finish any edges. Raw edge is my deal. And so this happens to be a blanket stitch that I have put around. And most of the fabrics will have, most of the pages will have this blanket stitch. So I did a blanket stitch all the way around it. I've just got a very simple X stitched because it is a sandwich of the home deck fabric. This is Hobbs batting and then the home deck fabric. So I've made a sandwich. And then when I turn it inside, this is just a solid, and because it is, although I think I did, yeah. See, this one is solid, so it's going to be the same on both sides, but because I wanted it to be a little thicker, I still doubled it, as you can see there. And then I just did a quick running stitch around it. So this doesn't have the blanket stitch, but it has a running stitch holding it together. And then this blank page will have, all the pages will have other things on it. But like this, I've got this earmarked to go on here. This was given to me by a friend. Looks beautiful on this green. And so I don't know if it'll be a pocket or a flip or something that will go on this green. This is a piece. I thrifted this. It was a dress. And I cut the dress all up. And then I tea-dyed it. And that's going to be the next page. This is a piece of home deck that my friend gave me. Hey, Sue. And it's a sample. And again, I mean, it was all whacked up and the edges were all raw. Love that. And so I have put a blanket stitch. It's really hard to see, but this does have a blanket stitch around it to kind of hold the fray. I like fray, but this one is going to fray a lot. And you could also use fray check, which looks like this. Or you could machine stitch around it. This is a vintage quilt block, an orphan quilt block. I've got these. I've got a bajillion of these that I've picked up over time. And I happen to have this one folded up into a pocket. So you can see the stitching here that someone has done. And I think maybe it was in a quilt. It's been cut out of a quilt, looks to me like. And I've left all these edges like this because I think that's beautiful. So, again, I'm into primitive. So, if you don't like primitive, then you may not want yours like this. You may want yours neat and tidy. And let me back up and say that this book could be kind of like a scrapbook of fabric or a memory book. So what I have in here are pieces of fabric that are meaningful to me. And this is in that category. My wonderful friend Krista, hey Krista, sent me some Grammy G, some of Grammy G's, or one of Grammy G's feed sacks, not feed sack, what do you call it? You know, sugar sacks back in the vintage day. I hate when my brain doesn't work. Anyway, so I have cut a piece of that, and that's going to go in here as a page. This is another orphan block. Look at this fabric on the inside. That's why I made this one as a center, because that fabric is just awesome. I love it. That old ticking. And then again, you know, as they flip through it. So I haven't bound this yet because I haven't, you know, like finished the pocket edges, and I want to do all the handwork on the individual pages first, which I'm just about done. I just about have just the pocket on this particular one to do, and then I'm ready to bind it. And when I do, I'm going to use this crochet thread because it's nice and strong, looks great. And I will basically do it. I'm not gonna do a pamphlet stitch, because in order for this to be nice and sturdy, because this is heavier than paper, substantially heavier than paper, I will use a running stitch, and I will use a doll needle to go through all the layers. Depending upon, it's a possibility that my machine could go through there, but I don't want it to be machine stitched. I want it to be hand stitched. So, but depending upon how thick your book may be, your machine may be able to go through that. So the tricky part is getting everything, making sure that everything is lined up, because these pages, you know, can shift because of the fabric. See here how this one is now shorter on this side. And so, you know, you would want to make sure that you got everything lined up, line each one individually so that it's, so again, this one needs to be pulled over a little bit. And then, of course, the thickness of the fabric itself makes a difference on whether or not they're going to be lined up on the edge. So, all that needs to be done very carefully, and then I will, you know, fasten them so that they don't shift and move around before I sew everything down. And then what I'm going to have on the inside, see there, here, this one needs to be pulled over so that it's, and I've got a line ironed and creased into the center, but yeah, that really isn't helpful. So, but what I have got pulled out all other kinds of scripts and scraps of fabric, and I'm going to have flips and pockets and, you know, all kinds of stuff. I really like the layered look, so there's going to be lots of layers on here. So one of the things that I have done is I have selected fabrics that I've just got little tiny pieces left, and they're some of my favorite fabrics. And there's no need to throw those away because they're still perfectly good to use for something like this. And so I've saved them back, and you could do the same thing with lace or whatever, little applique pieces that you may have, doilies. This is one of the things that I am probably going to put in here, that my friend Yasi. Here's another thing that she made for me that's going to go in here. This was made for me. Isn't that cute? With that little, I don't know if you can see that well, that little watercolor on it. I think that's adorable. So even though these pieces are paper, they can still go in there. That's no problem. Here's a hexie that I made. Here's a label that my friend sent me that's going to go in there. So there's all kinds of things that you can just save back. You know me, I've always got little containers. So I've got all these in a little bowl here, saving them back because they're special and I want them to go into my special books. So just to show you some different ideas, at least ideas that I have. And yours certainly doesn't have to be a memory book, but I've got several linens that my mother painted with that, remember the liquid embroidery back in the 60s and 70s. She painted these back in the 60s, and these would make excellent pages to go in there, or a great journal cover. This one's very thick. So there's a lot that could be done with those to make them a keepsake book. Here is a vintage cross stitch pattern that I came across, and it would make a great page or cover. So that's an idea for you. Here's some fabric that I just love this. I love cowboys. I love Mexican design. And this, my friend Mary sent to me. Hey, Mary. And so I'm going to be using that for a cover. And it's kind of not canvas, but that heavy home deck type fabric. And so it will make a really good cover. I also like I like Day of the Dead stuff. And so I've got this awesome, this looks like Pirates of the Caribbean. Don't you love that? That is so awesome. This is a J. Alexander print fabric, and he has got awesome stuff. And then here's another one that's got cowboys. This is called Deadwood. So I love this Day of the Dead stuff. So those will make great covers. This one is very vintage. I think I got it at, yeah, Hobby Lobby. So you may still be able to get that. Wow, I got a lot of that. That's cute. I need to make something with that. That's really cute. This is, again, Alexander Henry. J. Alexander's a restaurant that we ate for our anniversary. Sorry about that. It's Alexander Henry. And oh, this fabric is so awesome. It's called Ghastly. Look how beautiful that is. I know, I'm weird. What can I say? I'm weird and I'm proud of it. So this is one part of the Ghastly collection. This one is another. Sorry, I'm flipping this all this stuff around. Aren't these ladies lovely? Just beautiful. And then I think that there's another piece to this. Someplace. I know that there is, but I don't know where it is right this second. So, this is my Mexican fabric. This is also Alexander Henry. Won't that make a beautiful... Oh, I just love that. Hacienda. That'll make a beautiful cover or pages or quilt. This is lovely. So I got all these pulled aside. This one is also kind of, it's heavyweight canvasy kind of stuff. And yeah, this is Alexander Henry as well. Isn't that beautiful? I love Day of the Dead. And this is Day of the Dead. This might be Alexander Henry. No, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, also Alexander Henry. More Day of the Dead stuff. This is also Day of the Dead. More Day of the Dead. Isn't that cute? It's kind of very cocoa-ish. I love cocoa. Oops, sorry. Move the camera there. And then this one. Love this one. This is also Alexander Henry. And you can get Alexander Henry fabrics at Joann. I happen to order these from a shop on Etsy. But yeah, you can sometimes get their, especially their Halloween prints like this at Joann. So anyway, that's another thing that would be really cute. I wanted to show you this too. If I can find one right now. So this is an old cutter quilt. That would make an excellent cover. This is a tablecloth that was thrifted. So clothing, linens, anything that is fabric would make an excellent cover, or pages. So think outside the box when it comes to your journaling. And you know how we use cardboard boxes and, you know, all kinds of other unusual things, thrifted things for our junk journals. Same thing goes for fabric. Look at your fabric when you go thrifting. Look at the clothing, the, you know, the linens, things like that. Just look at them in a different way. And how can you use this for a journal cover? So anyway, those are just some ideas for you. And to touch base, I will be coming back and sharing with you as I work on, or maybe after I've completed this journal, because it's kind of going to be a work in progress. I don't think that this is going to be one of those that's going to be finished for a while, because I don't want it to be that way. As I am working and, you know, making quilts and doing different projects and things, you know, I may come up with a little script or scrap of something that I want to include in that. So this is kind of going to be like a work in progress, to where I can add, like I said before, like a scrapbook of textiles. So maybe that's what I'll call this, a textile scrapbook. So, anyway, I hope that gives you some inspiration, and I would love to see any unusual journal covers or things that you have made. If you want to come over to our Facebook group, The Art of Journal Making and Paper Crafting on Facebook, and share some of the things that you have made and or are making, or if you just want to come over there and get some ideas, that would be great. So anyway, I'm going to sign off for now. Hope you have a great week. Aren't you loving this wonderful weather? Talk to you later. Bye.